Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the second part of my 3-part Arknights tutorial series. If you haven't seen the first part on the recruit, shop and base system, I recommend you go watch that video after this video and definitely subscribe for more content on Arknights and even more mobile games coming in the future. In this and the next video, I will be talking about units in the game and their high or low rarity replacements, since I believe not everyone is super good at the game and they can figure out all the hard stages by themselves, as I can't do that by myself, and not everyone has all the characters in the game like I don't. Um, you can, when you search online for clearing, like go through other people's video on how they clear the stages, you can see their character list and then replace them with the similar characters that has a higher rarity or lower rarity if you don't have the exact same character or if you haven't leveled the exact same character as they have. So since there are so many types of units and the diversity is so huge, I will separate the character. I will separate it into this and the second video that is coming tomorrow, and in this video I want to talk about melee slot characters. In this game, you can, when you're in the tower defense, you can put your characters in melee slots or range slots. So today is mostly around melee slots. So let's begin. So just to make sure, but the names of the type of characters, like the naming, is pretty much just an idea, a rough idea. I'm pretty sure that they won't name the things as I do, so just know about like what I'm talking about and look at the character, and the character name I believe will be totally different. So just if you want to make sure, just check out my video later when the game comes out and like just check like the pictures and stuff. That will make this thing a lot more easier for you. So let's begin. First, I would like to start with Scout. Scouts are generally low cost characters. So for example, this character costs only 12 points, and let's say this character, one of the first characters you will probably be using, has a 9 cost. So pretty much when you go into the stage, you will be able to place one of these characters down. And what they do is really simple. Their skill gives you more costs. So for example, this character, she will gain skill points as time pass on, and after her skill point is filled up, she will use her skill and grant you 6 skill points at level 7. At skill level 7. So generally I would put these into 3 types. The first type I would consider the damage scout, and the highest rarity of those I have is her, Texas. So I believe there is a 6-star variant of the attack based scout, but I don't have it sadly. So she is super good. She has such a high attack value that you can pretty much use her as like a DPS. And yeah, in general, I would at least have one of the damage types, just in case, like when a flood of enemies coming at the start of the stage, you can place one of these and just kill as many as you can, so you don't get just run over with. And the 4-star variant would be this girl. As you can see, I haven't leveled her since I already have Texas, but Scavenger is also very similar. And the 3-star would be Vanilla. Okay, so that is the 3 that I have. And let's go on with the second type, the defense type. So generally I would consider this girl as the highest level defense, but I don't really use defense type scouts as much. I just stay with lower tier ones since I only got her recently. And second one would be this dude. I can't pronounce that for some reason. Korea. And as you can tell, I've leveled him up so much since I only got the 5-star variant just recently. And this girl, Fang, would most likely be the one that you get at the start. She is also a defense type. As you can see, her defense is way higher than Texas, even though they are 2 stars apart. So the last type I will be talking about is a cost recovering scout. You might be thinking, what do you mean? Scouts are already giving you costs. But the thing is, when you put down a unit and you want to retract it back, you only get half the cost that it took you to place down the unit. But with these, you actually get all the costs back. So I would consider these. This is Plume. I haven't used her at all, but the thing is, they can only block one unit in front of them, and like the second enemy will just run by. So usually they are used to just kill enemies to get cost. Like every enemy they kill, they get 1 point, and then when you track them, you get all the cost back, and that's pretty much it. So I haven't really used any of them, and this is like the second one that I have, and I only have these two. So this is Vigna, and well, she's hot. I got her skin, I love it, but as you can tell, I haven't really leveled her up as well. So in general, I would recommend at least having one defense type scout and one attack type scout, and perhaps level 1 of the cost refunding scout if you like really desire so. But I didn't see much use in them personally, so I wouldn't do so. So the second type of unit I will be talking today are warriors. Well, they have a sword, so I just call them warriors. And these are even more diverse. As you can tell, there are so many characters in this type, and I have arranged them into 6 categories. The first type is the most simple, but the most useful one. The melee single target warriors. So these are her, Melantha, and her, Matoimaru, and Franka. These 3 are so strong that even the 3-star variant, Melantha, is super useful. As you can tell, she can only stop 1 unit, but her damage is rocket high. Like, this is, even if you don't have the rest of them, level up the 3-star variant. Definitely useful. So the second type are those that can attack at range, which is a bit weird because they're in melee slots, but you're putting them in, they can attack in range. But here they are. So Midnight, Frostleaf, LaPlan, and Silver Ash. These 4 can attack at a range of 3 slots away from them and also beside them. These are actually more useful in later in the game, so don't recommend leveling up them at the start, but for example, the most recent event, that is Contingency Contract, Silver Ash is one of the most useful characters that I have used, and so important to just have at least one of them level up. And for example, like the plant, she can change her damage into magical damage, which can bypass normal defense. And there are those really tanky enemies that you can just kill with her really simply. So I would recommend, if you have her, level her up. So the third type are multiple target warriors, and these are what, Paprika, Estelle, and Spectre. These three can attack all of the enemy in front of them at once, so at least 2 enemies at the same time, and generally they would have decent defense and decent health. So you can think of like a sub tank if you wish, and high in damage. I don't really level all of them up, as you can tell. I'm not really that good at the game, so obviously and I don't have all the characters in the game as well, so when you get your character and you don't see them in this list, just look at their stats and then think which category would you put them in by yourself, obviously, because I haven't played that much. I haven't played that much of the game. I haven't spent that much money. There's so many 6-star characters I wish I'd had, and that's just how it is. So there are support roles in Warriors for some reason. For example, Doberman, her skill can improve all 3-star unit attack by 5%. And also the 5-star variant would be her Swire, and her skill grants all allies around her 6% damage. So it really depends on you if they're good or not. And a weird type of warriors are this Bee Hunter and Indra. So what's special about them is they have really high attack speed, and they're really low in cost. And their skill, for example Indra, her skill can allow her to ignore 35% of their defense, and her second skill, no, and her talent grants her 15% evasion. So they're pretty tanky at times. They have high damage, high output, so it's like decent in both situations. But since they can only stop one enemy, I just haven't had a stage that I must use them. But I guess they will be somehow useful later. So just have them. And the last type is really special. I only have one of this type, and that is Chen. She is so special that the main thing about her is that her skill outputs so much damage in like a single moment. So her third skill is dealing 10 damages at her closest target, each dealing 260% of her damage. So that's like 26 times her damage, and stuns the target for 3 seconds. That is so strong, that is so good, and like her second skill, she can damage 6 enemies in front of her for 410% of her damage, and 400% as magical damage. That is super useful, and like there are some stages that have limits that you can't place down any like ranged characters, so she can take out 6 enemies at once. 6 enemies at once. Super useful. I would level her up once she is released and you get her, level her up. And so the next type of units I will be talking about are tanks. So I only level up 2 type of tanks, and those are defensive tanks and healing tanks. There's a third type that grants buffs or debuffs, but I haven't really used them as much, but I'll just talk about them anyway. So the first type are defense tanks, and they are Bagel, Hora, Matterhorn, and Hoshiguma. So as you can see, I've set 2 of the 2 4-star characters into the same type, but I would consider Matterhorn a better replacement than Korra, since he has way higher defense and health than Korra. So, well, not really a higher defense, but higher magical defense and way more health, which makes him a lot more tankier if you have a healer in place. But in general, if you can, get Hoshiguma. She is the tank in the game. Okay? Get her, at least like when she's getting picked up, get her. It's definitely worth it. So the second type, which I have leveled up, is healing tanks, and they are Cardigan, Spot, I can't read that. That is definitely not English, but the Chinese translation is something like Gumi or something. So this character you will actually get if you purchase the 6 Chinese dollar starter pack, and she's actually quite useful. As you can tell, I've leveled her up quite a bit. And Nero, and Saria. Saria is so good. She can heal all allies around her for her skill, and the cost is so low that she's just healing like pretty much every few seconds. So just placing her in is pretty much like a low level healer with you at all times. And she is also super tanky. As you can tell, she has 10 magical defense when Hoshiguma has 0. So Zarya and Hoshiguma, these are the 2 tanks that I would definitely recommend. They are 2 of my favorite characters in the whole game. So let's go to the last type that I'll be talking about in this video. These are the special units, and I would put them into 4 types. The first one is Speed Revive. I would name it that way, but depends on the translation, it will be different. But what is special about them is once you take them down from the field or they die, the time before you can place them on the field again is super short. For example, Gravel, you can put it on the field for like about 16 seconds later, while other units, it's like a minute before you can place them on again. So there are very special stages that you will definitely need them. And the second one of the type would be Project Red. Yep, you can see it's Project Red, just like CG Project Red. And that's the only two. Well, there's a new one, but it would be too early for the NA version. And the second type are the type of unit that can actually push enemy away from them. And they are Shao and F Eater. Whatever that is. Oh, FE Eater. So it's like Iron Eater. I see. And the third type are the type of units that can pull enemies towards you. And they are Rope and Cliffheart. Obviously, as you can tell, I have leveled up at least one of them, one of each. Yeah, she's leveled up as well. Yep, she is Elite 1, so I have leveled up at least one of each, and they are really useful in some special occasions because you can just push them off into like Dark Void and the enemy just dies instantly. So you will at least want one of each type, I would recommend. And the last type is even more special, and there's only one, that is Manticore. The thing about her is, even though she's standing in front of she is blocking the enemy's way, they will ignore her. You might think, what's the point then? Well, for example, if you only have one path that the enemy is coming in from, you put Manticore at the front so she can deal damage all around her, so she's dealing damage all the time, and you put someone like Shao behind her who pushes the enemy away. So you can see the enemies are coming in, Manticore is attacking, and Shao just pushes them back. So the enemy will just stay there forever and ever and not even attacking. They don't even get a chance to attack you. But this has some really limited use, but can be super useful. So I would definitely recommend leveling them up if you possibly can. And that is it for this video. Just in case, obviously I'm just putting them into a general type, but even though they're in the same type, even though they're different in stars, but in some occasions a low star character might be way more useful than a high star character, or the vice versa. Because sometimes it's the cost may be just the thing that is just needed. So for example, Rope has such a low cost compared to Cliffheart that you might need to use Rope in some stages. And sometimes, for example, in the Warriors section, so even though Lapland and Silver Ash are both ranged attack warriors, Lapland can actually deal magical damage, which can bypass normal defense, while Grey Silver has a really strong skill that can attack in a huge range and dealing like area of effect damage. So he's again useful in another case. So it really depends on what situation that you're in, to pick which unit that you're actually using. So this is just a general differential of the units, but that doesn't mean that let's say if someone is using Silver Ash to clear a level because he has such a huge AoE, and you think, oh, Lapland is his low star variant, I can just use her. Sometimes that doesn't work as well. So just keep that in mind, and I will see you next time in the ranged slot character video, which should be posted tomorrow. And if you find this helpful, you can please subscribe to the channel, because I have none right now. If you watch the video, find it helpful, click that like button. If not, click dislike, the which way ever you like. And if you have any questions, specific questions, you can ask me in my Twitter or join my Discord and ask questions over there. And that is pretty much it. See you next time.